is not why it occurred to Bernard Sadow that suitcases should have wheels. The question is, why it had never occurred to us before. The wheel is considered one of humanity's most fundamental inventions. Without the wheel, there are no carts, cars, or trains, no water wheels for water power, and no potter's wheels on which to make jugs carry said water in. Without the wheel, we have no cogwheels, jet engines, or centrifuges, no pushchairs, bicycles, or conveyor belts. But before the wheel, there was the circle. The world's first circle was probably drawn in the sand with a stick. Perhaps someone might have seen the moon or the sun and decided to replicate their shapes. Cut the stalk from a flower and you have a circle. Chop a tree and you're met by its annual rings. Throw a stone into a lake and you see its ripples expand on the water. The circle is a shape that comes up time and again in nature, from cells to bacteria, pupils to celestial bodies. And outside of every circle, you can always draw another. This, in itself, is the primary mystery of space. For the human body, however, the circle is not natural. Your dental hygienist tells you to brush your teeth in small circular motions, but you don't. You scrub them back and forth. The human arm prefers straight lines. This is because of the way our muscles are positioned and the system of tendons and muscular attachments that connects them to our bones. No part of the human body can rotate 360 degrees, not your wrist, nor your ankle, nor your arm. We invented the wheel to accomplish that which our physical form cannot. Historians long considered the world's first wheel to have been made in Mesopotamia. It was a round potter's wheel, which is to say it was not used for transport. But today, some scholars believe that miners were carting copper ores through tunnels in the Carpathian Mountains long before the Mesopotamians started throwing pots on circular discs. The world's oldest wheel still in existence is 5,000 years old. It was unearthed in Slovenia, about 20 kilometers south of Ljubljana. In other words, the technology that Bernard Sadow realized he could apply to his suitcase problem was at least 5 millennia old. The patent for his invention came 2 years later, in 1972. In his application, he wrote, "The luggage actually glides. Any person, regardless of size, strength, or age, can easily pull the luggage along without effort or strain." Similar patents for suitcases on wheels did in fact already exist, but Bernard Sadow wasn't aware of this when the idea first occurred to him. He was the first person to turn the idea into a commercially successful product, and is therefore considered the father of the wheeled suitcase. But why it took a whole 5,000 years to reach this point is more difficult to explain. The wheeled suitcase has become an archetypal example of how innovation can be a very slow-footed thing. The blindingly obvious can stare us expectantly in the face for an eternity before it actually occurs to us to make something of it. Robert Shiller, a winner of the Nobel Prize for Economics, has suggested that many inventions take time to catch on precisely because a good idea alone won't cut it. Society at large must also recognize the usefulness of the idea. The market doesn't always know what's best for itself, and in this particular case, people just didn't see the point of wheels on suitcases. Sadow presented his product to buyers from almost all of the USA's major department stores, and initially, all of them rejected it. It wasn't that they thought the idea of a suitcase on wheels was a bad one. They just didn't think anyone would want to buy the product. A suitcase was for carrying, not for trailing around on wheels. "Everybody I took it to threw me out," he would later recount. "They thought I was crazy." Eventually, the new product came to the attention of Jerry Levy, vice president at department store chain Macy's. He towed it around in his office, then called in the buyer, who had originally rejected it, and gave him the order to buy it. This proved a wise move. Soon Macy's were marketing the new suitcase using the very wording from Sadow's patent application. "The luggage that glides." And nowadays, it is of course impossible to imagine a world in which suitcases on wheels are anything but standard. Robert Shiller argues that this is easy to say in hindsight. He notes that inventor John Allen May had in fact attempted to sell a suitcase on wheels some 4 decades before Sadow. May had noticed that over the course of human history,